Good evening, everyone. If you could please rise for the pledge to the flag. Mary, would you lead us in the pledge to the flag, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could all please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please keep in mind all of our first responders, police, fire, ambulance, EMTs that service us on a daily basis in this great town of Yorktown. And also, please keep in your thoughts and prayers all of our military personnel here and abroad that keep our freedom where it is today. Thank you. Amen. All right. Let me get my agenda here, and we will go from there. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody have a good Thanksgiving? Excellent, excellent, excellent. There it is. They keep adding stuff to me here. And there's that. Okay. So, for our opening remarks tonight, I want to remind everybody that, actually I'll let Ed do this because he came up with this tonight. You want to just go over that with, and it's, I got to tell you something. Pizza is graciously donated by Councilman Sergio Esposito, who probably flips it with his own hands.
That's right.
All right?
So the Teen Center will be in operation the next 3 Fridays. They will be offering free admission instead of the normal $10. On December 1st, they will have pizza donated by Sergio. I believe on the 8th, if they approve it, they will have Ice Cream Emergency donated by Ed. And then on the 15th, they will be doing their holiday party.
I love them.
And they will have pizza and different snacks there. So it's great. I was just there last Friday. I believe they had about 30 kids in attendance. They were all having a great time. The gym was operational, so they had basketball going on. They had their computers going. They had crafts going, and they had some other activities at pool table the kids were utilizing. So it's really a lot of fun. We had some volunteer parents, and they're always looking for that. One of our Lions, Tony, is looking to volunteer there. He had a great time playing basketball with the kids. I guess he remembers his kids growing up. Now he's dealing with the grandkids growing up, but had a fantastic time. And anyone interested could contact the Teen Center, yttc.org, I believe. Yorktown Teen Center. All right.
Want to check?
No, that's okay. Or you could email info@yorktowntc.org. There you go.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Ed. We have a few announcements, and then we'll get on with our program for tonight. Wreaths Across America, folks, is in full operation. On Saturday, 12/16, Wreaths Across America will be putting wreaths on all veterans that have died on their gravestones. I bought 2 to have placed. They're $17 a piece, and you can order one and have it placed on a.
Sorry.
That's rude.
I'm sorry. I didn't know it would be that
And
loud.
you can have it placed on a headstone of a deceased service member, and you can get on their website. It's Wreaths Across America to make a donation. I believe they have a QR code and so forth right on the website, which you could probably download and get that and make a nice presentation on a wreath for the holiday season. We had the annual Senator Murphy's annual turkey trot. Boy, was it well attended. I think we had 300 people, and the proceeds from that go to the food pantries. I know Terrence and I made a presentation over at St. Mary's last year. We'll be making a presentation again over there to help the food pantries, help those that can't afford to have a good meal on the table. And I'm going to save this one for last, though. Okay, but shrub oak tree lighting, all right, is on December 9th with a rain date of December 10th at 6:30 p.m. The library is going to be putting on crafts. They're going to have a 35-member chorus group there. Santa is coming in on a fire truck along with Mrs. Claus. I believe there's going to be a reindeer there in costume. And we're having the Grinch. So,
Are you going?
I am not. I think that Tommy's going to be the Grinch.
no, I'm always the Grinch, so that's okay. It's fun. Like I say, the library puts on a nice little table there for the kids to come and make some paper ornaments, hang them on the tree, and it's just a good old-fashioned Andy of Mayberry Main Street Christmas time. So it should be a lot of fun. Now, to quote Michael Grace, this next event is one that we've been having for approximately 11 years now. It's the Holiday Light Parade, which kicks off on Front Street and ends up down at Veterans Field, where we will light another tree. That will be on the 2nd of December with a rain date of the 3rd. So, as Michael once said, you can't be in the parade unless you're lit. All right? So, but I think he meant that everything had to be lighted, not lit as in having too much to drink. So, and that may have happened too from time to time. I can't confirm or deny that. So that's a few of the things that I had to announce tonight, and we're going to get on with the rest of our work session. What happened?
Can we push up the proc so he can go back to work rather than wait for all that?
I wish you would have told me this
I'm sorry.
ahead of time.
Yes.
You know. There you go.
Appreciate it.
And Ed's got a proclamation to read for, it'll be for Albanian American Independence Day.
Yep, and we're going to jump this up because I know we have a couple of presentations that may take a little while. Whereas on November 28th, 1912, Ismail Kamali raised the Albanian flag proclaiming independence for the Albanian people after 500 years of Ottoman occupation. And whereas Albanian Americans in Yorktown have made a tremendous impact on our community through their hard work, community service, and contributions to the town of Yorktown's rich history, culture, and diversity. And whereas Albanian culture traditions are distinctive for their extraordinary emphasis on family, hospitality, and generosity, which no doubt influenced the most famous Albanian of all, Saint Mother Teresa. And whereas the town of Yorktown is proud to recognize Albanian American Independence Day, now therefore I, Thomas P. Diana, Supervisor of the town of Yorktown, do hereby proclaim November 28th, 2023 as Albanian American Independence Day. And that's signed by Tom. And as we speak about that with impact in our community, hospitality, generosity, we asked JT from the Gramercy to come up to the microphone. And JT, if you could just tell us a couple of words. I know I didn't tell you about that, but
See that?
I
See,
guess
he
we all
does
have to do
he
the
does this
Albanian
to
flag.
everybody, JT. Okay, it's a
We should've
last
wore
minute
red.
thing.
What'd you say? I wish I would have known about this.
Yeah.
just tell us what it means for you being in America and also the pride and what you feel about the independence of Albania.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody, obviously, for acknowledging this day. We, like so many people before us, had to leave our homes to come and look for better opportunities, and we're very fortunate to come to America, and we're welcomed with open arms. We've done very well for ourselves, thankfully. As you said, we're hardworking people, very hospitable, knucklehead sometimes, but
Speak better Italian than most Italians.
we try. Same thing everybody wants to do, just try to provide better life for their children, their families, and their loved ones. And thankfully, this great country that we live in has accepted us, and we continue to strive for better and make a better community for everybody. So thank you again to all of Yorktown. As some of you may know, I opened a restaurant here about 5 years ago now. It's crazy, but right before the pandemic. And without the help of everybody in town and community, the people coming and even buying gift certificates that they never redeemed, just to kind of help us and keep us afloat throughout the closures during the pandemic. And it's a real testament to the people and the love and community that we have here. So thank you again for everyone.
Thank you for
Jim.
coming in tonight.
Yeah.
I do know a few members of the Selajaj family, and I've also spent 42 years, way too long, in the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry, and have had the pleasure of working with and learning from a lot of Albanian chefs and servers and throughout the industry. And you know, the Gramercy is a testimony to how great the hospitality industry has been embedded in the people of Albania, and it's wonderful to see you guys be so successful. I'd like to present you with this proclamation.
Absolutely.
Thank
Go
you
ahead.
very much.
Yeah, we'll do a quick photo and then.
My girlfriend had her kids all in red with their flag and everything ready. I love you.
All right. Yeah, we stand on top, he stands on the bottom.
Like a prom photo, right? You're like, yeah. No, we're good.
Not you, us. All right. Yeah.
So now we just have to get you to have a menu at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll just call you at home, sir.
10 o'clock is optimistic.
Yeah, we try.
You're asking for too much now, Lou. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, you too.
And once again, welcome to the Town Board Work Session for November 28th, 2023. It's my pleasure once again this year to have our auditors and accountants give us the 2022 audit presentation. If Alan could come on up and do your thing.
Thank you, Supervisor Diana. Good evening.
Evening.
This is going to be a summary of the audit results for the year ended December 22. And the first page is the agenda. If we can go to the next page, the audit results. We completed the audit for 2022 financial statements of the town of Yorktown in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America, the objective of which to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatement. In the audit scope, our approach was directed at the evaluation of all significant aspects of the town's operation to reduce the audit risks to an acceptable level. Our primary focus was not on individual transactions, but on balances on the financial statements taken as a whole. We rendered an opinion, which is an unmodified opinion, also known as a clean opinion. It's the best opinion you can receive. On the next page is a general fund balance retrospective going back 3 years. These are the components of the general fund balance. We like to call them buckets. You have the non-spendable fund balance, which contains prepaid expenditures. Basically what that is money spent at the end of 22 for expenditures that will incur in 23. So that money is non-spendable. Then you have certain reserves, the employee benefit accrued liability, which are for compensated absences. And you can see that's at a little over $1 million at the end of 22, went up approximately a little less than 200,000. There's a new reserve that was established by the town board this year. It's called the Pilot Tax Protection. Basically, what this is to do is, because you issue pilots to various industries coming into the town, this money is set aside in case the taxes fall short. So basically, you put in a cushion to the pilots, because when somebody comes in,
It's a little escrow.
basically, when you reissue a pilot, they're not paying the full assessed value. They're getting a reduced rate. So there's a certain amount that's abated, and if there is a shortfall or a need for it, this money is in the reserve. Now, once you establish a reserve, the money can only be used for that purpose. Okay? Then you have assigned fund balance. The first category is purchases on order, which are encumbrances, which are purchases that were placed at the end of December, which you haven't received the goods or services prior to the end of December. So that money is encumbered. It will roll forward into, you should have a copy of this.
I have it. I
Oh,
have the whole
okay.
book.
The next category is subsequent years' expenditures. You're taking $1,150,000 out of your fund balance and using it to balance the '23 budget. Okay, last year you appropriated $925,000 for that purpose. And then you have money assigned for tax certiorari's of $529,000. Then you have your unassigned fund balance, which at the end of '22 was $27,074,000, which was an increase of almost $4.8 million from the prior year, which means that you had a relatively good year. On the next slide, you have the general fund budget to actual summary. This is going left to right. You have the original budget, the final budget, the actual results, and then the variance with the final budget compared to the actual. So the total revenues, the original budget was $29.9 million. The final budget remained the same. The actual results came in at $36,702,000, which generated a positive budgetary variance of $6,761,000, which is equal to about 2% of the original budget. So it is a fairly healthy positive variance, but it's not excessive.
Okay.
On the expenditure side, the original budget was $32.4 million. It was increased slightly to $33.8, and the actual came in at $29,957,000, thereby generating a positive budgetary variance of almost $3.9 million, and that's only 1.2% of your original budget. So basically, you pretty much stuck to your budget on the expenditure side. As I've always said, when you put your budget together, revenues should be budgeted conservatively for the most part, because you have no control over them, aside from the taxes, the sales tax, the mortgage tax, the state aid. You have no control over those, so the recommendation is to keep budgeting them conservatively. The expenditure side is where you can control your expenses. And you did a pretty good job generating a positive variance of $3.9 million. So your excess of revenues over expenditures, the actual was $6.7 million. The other financing sources or uses, which are transfers in and out, was $1.5 million uses. So your net change in fund balance, the third number up from the bottom, was $5.2 million. But if you look over to the original budget, the bracketed $1,576,000, that includes that $925,000 which you appropriated from 21's budget to balance the 22 budget, which meant that if your revenues came in exactly as budgeted and your expenditures did the same, you would have utilized $1.5 million of your fund balance. But in reality, you generated a surplus of $5.2 million, thereby giving you a total positive budgetary variance of $10.7 million. So if you take the net change in fund balance of $5.2 million, you add it to the fund balance at the beginning of the year, $26,026,000. You ended the year with a total fund balance of $31,252,000. Okay.
All right.
This is the more detailed analysis of the actual revenues. This is broken out, and I'll just go over some of the highlights. The non-property taxes, the third line down, you had a positive variance of $2.5 million, and that was primarily from the increase in the sales tax, which was up about $800,000 from the prior year. The next category is use of money in property. you had a positive variance of 486,000, and that's primarily from interest earnings. Then below that, you have the state aid, which had a positive variance of 1.7 million, and that was due to your mortgage tax and various state grants. And the federal aid had a positive variance of 1.9 million, and that was due to various federal grants, and you got a reimbursement for the construction capital project. On the next slide, we have a similar presentation for the expenditures. And some of the major categories was general government support. Now, within the general government support section, you have 23 different expenditure functions, and its positive variance was spread throughout them. There was no one that had a major positive variance. In public safety, it had a positive variance of 652,000, and that was primarily within the police department, 437,000, and the building inspector of 205,000. The culture and recreation had a positive variance of 470,000, mostly from the playgrounds and the rec centers. The employee benefits had a positive variance of 1.5 million, and that was from employee benefits. Overall, it was comparable to the prior year, and the positive variances were in the medical of 687,000 and retirement 582,000. And the last line is the transfers out of 3,066,000, and 2.7 of that went to the capital projects fund. So what you did with your fund balance, you appropriated 2.7 million, almost $3 million to the capital projects, to do various projects, thereby reducing the need to borrow, saving borrowing costs and interest expense for the life of the bond. On the next page, these are the balance of the other governmental funds. You have the highway fund, the various special districts funds, the capital projects fund, and the non-major governmental funds. You can see at the bottom that all of the funds have positive variances. And on the bottom of the page, the special districts fund, you have the water districts, which have a combined positive variance, a positive fund balance of almost 4 million. The sewer, 5 million. The refuse, about 800,000. The combined parks, about 1.1. And the advanced life support district, about 80,000. To the right of that, you have your non-major governmental funds, which is your community development fund, had a positive budget fund balance of 56,000. The library fund, 2.3 million. The special purpose fund, almost 1.4 million. And the debt service fund of 63,000. Any questions?
I don't think.
Everybody always asks me about GASB 75, OPEB, other post-employment benefits, because it's such a huge number on your financial statements. On the statement of net position, the liability is 69,359,000. But the actuality is that in total, in terms of retirees' health benefit expenditures, you paid out $2 million during the current year. And that's been fairly consistent from year to year. This is just for retirees' health benefits. Okay, on the next page, again, some of the closing points. Again, we issued an unmodified opinion known as the clean opinion. We issued a management letter, which is a letter charged to those with governance, which is the board. There were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. There are a few control deficiencies, which I'm sure will be addressed. And there are GASB pronouncements. Every year they seem to issue one. This year you implemented GASB number 87, which had to do with leases. It was quite a task, but we got through it. In years past, you issued GASB 84, which changed the agency fund into a custodial fund. And next year, you have another GASB statement number 96, which is subscription-based information technology arrangements, known as SABITA. Okay, that's something else that we will analyze. And I spoke to Janelle, and she's already looking into it. And if it turns out it is a material number compared to your overall financials, we will have to implement it.
Yeah.
If it's not, there'll be a disclosure that it was not material, and we didn't have to implement. Okay?
Tell you, Gatsby was a bear for us this year to get through.
I don't know what they do, the Government Accounting Standards Board, but they always come up with these new pronouncements. And the OPEB originally was issued about 10 years ago, it was GASB 45, and then they made certain revisions to it, because when it originally came out, it was only for the retired employees. Then they revised it and said that the municipalities should be picking up the liability for not only the retired employees, but all employees. So you have to provide them with all the census data. That's why the number is so large.
Yeah.
But you only pay, basically a pay-as-you-go, so it was $2 million in this year, not the $69 million liability.
Yeah.
Okay?
It was tough, and I have to give a shout out to our comptroller and her staff, Pat Caparel, who left us about mid-year, and our new comptroller is Janelle McNeil. Janelle, you want to come up and say a couple words? No, you don't. She wants to stay anonymous back there. Okay, all right. But you know, I got to tell you, our staff upstairs works diligently to keep everything in line. And Pat had a famous saying, "I'm done," and that was it. You left. Okay. Janelle has one now. She opens up a book and says, "Denied." So we play pretty close to the vest here. And another big shout out goes to all my department heads that keep things in check when it really gets tough, because they do an excellent job at providing the services that all of the Yorktowners expect and deserve for what we have to work with. And I use this analogy for the tax base, is that if you take a $15,000 tax bill per year and you break it up, $10,000 goes to your school, $2,500 goes to your, approximately, $2,500 will go to your county, and the other $2,500 goes to your town. So for $2,500 on a $15,000 tax bill, town of Yorktown does pretty good. They really do. And I'm proud of my staff. I'm proud of what you guys do every year to keep us right in line. Alan, thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Alan.
It's great. Anybody have anything? Questions?
Great job as usual. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Alan,
Thank you, sir.
All right. That's a good finding. And Janelle has stepped in early on and has taken over the helm from where Pat left off, and doing a great job. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Janelle. All right. And now we have a presentation from the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. We have Kevin Cook and Maria Alicio. And this has to do with a Christmas decoration hospital fundraiser.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening. How are you?
Good.
Good.
So we're a local Yorktown family. We've been here since 1995, and we're just looking to give back. We decorate every Halloween and Christmas, but we've now added a little bit of a twist to it. 9 years ago, my dad thought he was done decorating. He figured his kids were older, and he just didn't have to do it anymore, until two little girls showed up to trick or treat and told him that the block was too dark without his decorations. Since then, the display has gone from just Christmas to also including Halloween, and it increases every year. As the display grows, so did the attention it received, and many of the people have asked my dad if they can donate to keep it going. He graciously every year tells them that he does it for the kids. He doesn't need the money to take that money and donate it to a kids' foundation. Well, this year we partnered with Maria Ferrari, and we have a direct website so that people can do just that and donate for the kids. For those of you who have not seen the display, just know that it has become the talk of our street, to say the least, and people around it. I'll come home and find bikes on the street just laying there outside my driveway, and teens that I have no idea who they are helping him in the front yard to put together Halloween and Christmas displays. Last year we had the bus driver stop when the bus was empty and tell him how it has become the talk of the bus. When they see the fence go up in the front yard, they know the decorations are coming, and that's all he starts to hear about while he's driving. That is truly why we do this, because the magic of the holidays is for the kids. They don't get to keep that magic very long, and to see them light up every year and come trick-or-treating and talk to him about what's new or what he's going to be doing new for Christmas, and they know him. They literally come and they just tell us what the favorite parts are, and that's what fueled us to keep going throughout the years until now. We reached out to Kevin and Natalie, and the hospital welcomed us with open arms. They showed us that what we were working for was more than just a hospital. I was personally blown away. I had no idea that a 136-bed hospital could do so much more than was expected. Every child's room is like a private suite. It has its own full bathroom and a pull-out couch for mom and dad. They have a playroom and volunteers who come and launder their parents' clothes so that they can be with their child in need and not worry about the trivial chores instead of their kid. The hospital is designed with kids in mind. Each wing or unit is named after something different, whether it's the sailor's wing or the hero's wing. You never hear staff say that they're going to the pulmonology unit or the oncology floor. The staff is caring. You can see it as they walk through the halls and how they distributed over 100 decks a month of Uno cards. Every kid gets a deck of Uno cards so that the staff and nurses and doctors can stop in and play a game of cards with the kids. I reached out to Kevin and Natalie explaining how other foundations were not as receptive, and they just welcomed us with open arms, telling us that they were. We hoped to raise about $5,000 this year. We are not close to our goal at all. So I just wanted to invite everyone to come by, see the display. Christmas is not done yet. It will be soon. If you saw Halloween, you know there's a lot more that has to be done. And I ask everybody if you can just skip your morning coffee one day and take that $5 and donate it to the kids and this amazing hospital and all of their resources. They're the only pediatric trauma center in the Hudson Valley. Mm-hmm. They get the sickest and the most injured children, and they still make them all feel like normal kids. They truly understand that there's so much more than science and medicine for the kids to recover, and that's why we hoped to raise that money for them so they can continue to do this, not just this year, but every year moving forward. And if you guys need more information, we do have a website and a direct link, and I'm just going to have Kevin come up and tell you a little bit more.
Thanks, Marie. Thank you very much for this few minutes. My name is Kevin Cook. I'm the Principal Gift Officer for Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. We are the advanced care resource, pediatric resource in the Hudson Valley. We serve the 8 counties of the Hudson Valley on either side between the Bronx and Albany, also Bergen County, New Jersey, and Fairfield County, Connecticut. When we say advanced care, we mean the most seriously ill and most seriously injured children. We're very proud of all of the programs. We are the regional NICU, neonatal ICU. If you hold your hand up like this, that is the size of the babies, the premature babies that we are delivering at 22 and 23 weeks from conception and healing to full lives of health and hope. Very proud of that, and the NICU is always filled. Mm-hmm. We're doing amazing work in pediatric epilepsy, which has just seen such a surge in the last several years. A recent surgery for a 13-month-old took 8 hours of brain surgery on a 1 year, 1 month old little girl. Brilliant and beautiful healing. We also have 2 of our 7 units that Maria referenced are for pediatric oncology, pediatric cancer, and blood diseases. And then Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital is the children's portion of Westchester Medical Center, which is the regional trauma center, the regional burn unit, and as I said, the NICU. We depend on philanthropy in a great way, and efforts like the Alicio family is doing with these Christmas and Halloween decorations and free will offerings go an awful long way to keeping those kids safe, happy, and healing them. So that's what we do, and we're very grateful. We've had so many patients over the years from Yorktown, and we have many donors and friends in Yorktown, so we're grateful. I do want to point out a poster that I put up there about little Chase, who comes from Dutchess County, came home one day with a headache, which was the beginning of a serious brain infection. Chase underwent brain surgery in our pediatric neurology and neurosurgery wing, and 3 years later is back to being a happy elementary school student. But it took 3 years of healing from that brain surgery. It was a sinus infection that went awry. That's what we do with advanced care. If your kid gets knocked on the head at soccer practice or strange case of measles, go to your local hospital. All of the hospitals in our area are wonderful. If the situation goes south there, they send them to us. We are as Westchester Medical Center, we receive mostly many transfers. It's what we do, and we're very glad to do it, but we're very glad for your help. Thank you for your time, and thanks for the time.
Don't go anywhere yet.
Yeah, Maria needs to
Maria,
come up,
you
too.
need to come back up too.
I didn't hear an address, did you?
Julio,
No?
Julio, come on up too.
Yeah, come on up, G.
Come on, buddy.
He's too shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh?
You haven't spent enough time with him.
That's one thing.
A few ways to describe Julio. Loving and caring is what I was thinking, Julio.
Okay, go ahead, Ed. I'm sorry.
I want to go see the display, but I never heard an address.
That would help. We are right off of 132 on Wildwood Street. It's 3784. If you turn right off of 132 onto there, across from exit 19 on the Taconic, we're the second house. You can't miss it.
On the left.
On the left.
On the left. And I'm pretty sure that if you're up at Granite Knolls, you can see the glow in the sky from that location. I'm not sure, okay? But, so how would people go about donating?
I'm sorry.
How would folks go about donating?
Right outside the house, there is a banner. It has a QR code. They could scan it with their phone. It brings you right to the donation site. We also have a Facebook page that has the link to it, and it goes directly to the hospital. We don't have anything to do with the funds. It goes right to them.
Okay, now the Facebook page is under your name, or you have it as
It's Decorate for the Kids.
Decorate for the Kids. Okay, so mark that down, folks, and that QR code is on there, and it goes directly to
Yep.
Maria Ferrari.
What's
right?
the website?
It's a long one. I can get it to you. It's
I have it right here, WMCHealthGiving.org. Does that sound right?
yes.
WMCHealthGiving.org.
And if you use the Medical Center Foundation link, write in Yorktown or write in Decorate for the Kids, so that because this is a dedicated fund.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Perfect.
I'll tell you, wonderful. You know, folks, if you could skip that one Starbucks coffee a week and give $5,
Goes a long way.
goes a long way.
A couple that showed up for Halloween right after you and your lovely wife left. Okay, and their child was 2 or 3 years old.
You got to step into the mic.
I'm sorry. We had a couple that showed up right after Tommy and his wife left on Halloween. And their child was there at a year old. The child was 2 or 3 years old, running around the yard in the maze that we made. And they were so taken back that the hospital was so forthcoming. They do everything there, like my daughter said. You know, if a husband and wife stays there, and, you know, you don't think you're going to a hospital to take care of your child, so you're not bringing a suitcase of clothes. They do the laundry for you. You have a pull-out couch. Anything that you need is actually offered to you. They've gone above and beyond. And we now have 3 people that we know. One little girl, Ashley. The father is a dealership manager for Healy. And his daughter was there for a month? Just under a month. She's leading a normal life now. Up in Poughkeepsie, they sent her down. It was supposed to be a no-win situation. The little girl that was running around the front yard had no idea how lucky she was. You know, children are a gift from God, and many of us here appreciate it, but we all take it for granted what it takes when an issue happens. Who's going to be there to help you? Okay? And we ask everyone, like Tommy and my daughter said, or Kevin said, $5 Starbucks cup of coffee, bless you.
Thank you.
Will go a long way if you do it once a week. You know, you're not going to get hurt. So we would appreciate whatever you could do for the hospital. You know, we're lucky to have what we have. It don't take much to give back. They're children. Thank you.
So I still believe in Santa Claus.
I hope you do. I do.
And I
It's a spirit.
and
That's
you
wonderful.
know, coming from an old school Italian family who came from, you know, being born in their own little town in Italy and now having so much more, we seem to have cake and celebrations for everything. I mean, I married an American man and he's like, it's Tuesday. Why is your mother buying the kids toys? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, I don't know. Like, when my kids are like, Nonna's taking me to Walgreens, it's to buy something. Well, I had my son volunteer in a woman and children's shelter nearby. And since that day, we adopt families and we teach them how to give back, because the meaning for Christmas, or how my Santa works, is the more generous our souls are, the more the God will repay you. The harder you do and step into things where people are hurting and choose to see the pain so you can accept it, the more God will help you heal.
They were, I will say, lucky and forced into what they've learned to do, my 3 children. About 20 years ago, when I started working in New York City again and post to the Bronx, I took home a homeless man, and he lived with us. And my wife told me, "What are you doing?" I says, "I don't preach it, I live it. I'm sorry."
Amen.
And you know what? It's the best way to be. It's easy to give back if you open your eyes, you know.
So I encourage, just like I saw with like the Albanian Heritage that we're doing, it's Epilepsy Month in November. People are wearing it, we're breathing it, we're celebrating it, we're seeing it. It's easy to give when you see it. When my kids' Christmas list stops circling a million things and they're actually more excited to go and buy other people things,
That's
I go
a gift
ahead and
in
say, I'm
itself.
probably doing the right thing. I just feel that the more we open our hearts, the more we can see. Because that $5 goes a long way. And also, how many things we don't even need?
Well,
Without, like, I don't know about you, but don't you say saluta when we eat, right?
Yes.
If there's se
God
senza
bless,
salute, non
salute.
c'è niente. If you don't have good health, I don't care how beautiful you look. It, you know,
How
it
much
doesn't
does
work.
a deck of Uno cards cost you?
Well, I think $8.95
Okay, they go through 100 a week.
a
100
month.
A month?
Don't oversell.
I'm sorry.
Don't oversell.
100 decks a month. This way, any new child gets a deck. How hard is it for a child to just play a deck of cards with whoever's there with them, whether it be a nurse or their parents, to keep them occupied? Okay? None of us were meant to be here. Okay? This is America. Okay, Pope John Paul said it the best. This is the ongoing experiment in beauty. Okay? It works.
Yep.
If we open our hearts and use our brains.
It works because there are people like you who volunteer their time. And I tell people, you know, I have a couple of different careers and jobs, and I do it. The most rewarding stuff that I do
Is volunteer.
is the volunteering stuff.
No, no,
It-
no.
it
I mean, I
pays
get
you
that
back in
too, but there's a
dividends.
big word that's written on my head all the time. So, you know, I'm proud of that word.
You're not a sucker and you're not a schmuck.
I don't know.
Okay.
Mezzo, un poco tutte.
So, but it does take a village, and you know, even if people if you don't have $5, give us 5 minutes.
5 minutes of your time,
That's
even
it.
$1.
Just share
the Facebook and page that's- or
the link.
That's what it takes.
And also, Kevin, if you ever have any other things, as a mental health coach and a therapist, I'm a big on bring the candy canes to Blythedale Hospital. I have kids volunteer, kids give back. Can you play basketball with a kid with one arm? Watch, I'll kick your ass. Like, you know, so there's all this amazing stuff. But my kids don't even know that they can do it. So the more information we get and we get out to the world, when they're looking for community service and also just connection, real life connection, which a lot of these kids lost during COVID, it's really important because we are going to life is all about how do we sit in conflict? How do we sit in fear? How do we step in and cure instead of running away and holding that trauma, right? So it's a big, you know, it's definitely not like the old school way, but it's a little bit softer.
Well, right now we're in the time of like RSV, which is
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So many babies on oxygen.
So
Yeah.
many babies. So many.
My niece was just there.
Have you,
You
ever
know.
seen a
Yeah.
baby struggle to breathe?
Their entire rib cage caves all the way in.
My God.
And it turned blue.
Terrible.
I'll tell you.
Cry just seeing them. They don't have to be your child to cry. It's pitiful to see any child, whether it be a newborn or a 1 month or 1 year old, struggle to breathe. Okay? We live in such a great country, but we fall short on taking care of our children. That's where we're wrong.
I'll tell you,
And
you know,
it's up to us to try to make a difference.
I see these cards that you folks had put up here. And I don't know, Tom, can you zoom in on them?
Yeah.
There's three beautiful little faces. All area kids. One from Fleischman's, New York. That's a little north of us. One from Fishkill. And the other one from Danbury, Connecticut.
20 months.
Yep. 20 months,
20 months old.
10 years, and 8 years old. So if you can spare that cup of coffee for one day,
Or tell Nona not to take you to Walgreens.
that's right.
You don't need any more junk.
All right. Those are the little faces you'll be sharing that cup of coffee with.
Thank you, guys.
No,
so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank all of you.
I'll be coming by like I used to do in the Bronx. On the
please.
road with
Knock
Go.
on the door.
I used to do that all the time.
No, the dog will
The
get
dolls
you.
were a little
Tell 'em
creepy in the
pay all
Bronx,
the
though.
time.
It's still a
Don't
little
knock
creepy.
on the door. The dog will get you. But thank you for doing that display. It's awesome. Anybody gets a chance, please take a drive by. All right. Next, but not least, will be Jim Motorano.
All right, now we're going to dive into a different type
Now
of
we're going to
pool.
drive into a different type of pool. Exactly.
For the kids. Still for the kids.
It's
and
still
some
for the
adults.
kids.
How are we doing tonight?
Good, Jim.
Great.
Everyone had a great Thanksgiving. So a little while ago, we put out a bid for resurfacing the pool and redoing the tile into coping. Since then, we've had some contractors come out while looking at that bid, one of which was actually the original contractor of the Shrub Oak pool.
The actual builder.
Yes, the actual builder. And he said, do not fiberglass this pool. This is not the way to go. Water's going to get underneath the fiberglass and you're going to have bubbling, and it's not the appropriate move going forward. He said,
Let's just talk about that for a second. So that from what I got from the parts of it, everyone knows that I like a little bit of pools and I like construction. The lip and the way that they build the fiberglass would have dropped, and the models that they come in pieces and they almost get like welded together around like the main drain and whatnot. From what we had talked about, they'll drop way too low from the coping. The coping's the lip where everybody likes to hang out on the pool, which means you're going to have to buy bulldozer of tile, which would have a lot of grout, and everybody knows concrete and water don't like each other. It's a bad marriage. And as it would move, it would be a big lip for it to meet, so water would actually seep through that seal because it couldn't come up flush and then evolve over. So in other words, the coping is bullnose in commercial pools. Fiberglass is cut to mold. It's straight. There's always going to be some sort of crevice. If that pulls apart, we would end up having a pool that pops out of another pool because the gunite, which is the concrete pool, is still in existence. So right now we have a beautiful pool that needs to be refinished. The walls of the actual pool, the steel, are doing fantastic. And when the supervisor and I went there with Jim and the team, there was no structural damage. There was no bulking, because when a pool starts to actually tell you, I don't want to be here anymore, it starts to show lateral cracks because it actually cracks between the rebar and the framing, which is the stainless steel or the steel framing. I know, Pat, I'm impressing you, right? See, I know a little bit of construction. So that's why yeah. Of course. Very well, sir.
and for
So
those
I
of you
just
at
want to
home-
make sure that we did do a lot of deep diving to why that bid didn't turn out to be.
And for those of you at home that are wondering what's going on right now,
Diving.
Luciana does have some history in the pool industry, so she does know what she's talking about. So definitely great to have her on our side here. Thank you for all the help here.
You're welcome.
So he also suggested, this gentleman, that we possibly do a plaster and marble dust the surface, and he specifically, of course, the guy that originally gave us tile, said, hey, we should do tile, and if we do tile again, we'll do a better job of it. And then we asked him, hey, what is the warranty going to be on this tile and of this marble dusting? He said, 2 to 3 years. So
Yeah, he can stay in business too.
wasn't exactly what we were looking for in the long-term fix here. And also, I was trying to get away from this tile, so I reached out to a company called Life Floor that does kind of like a foam matting around the coping, and from them, they got me in contact with another contractor that does larger parks, larger display parks and amusement parks and such. And after talking to him, he actually suggested that we do a PVC liner
that is 60 milliliters with a nylon wiring, which is super heavy duty. And that product has a 15-year warranty, and that would be a launcher fix. And that PVC lining would go actually over the current coping, and we would able to not have to redo the tile as well. So moral of the story is we're getting a lot of different suggestions from a lot of different groups and companies, and I think that it'd be more who of us to possibly hire a aquatic engineer to give us the real proper advice and also help with dealing with the Department of Health and all the hoops that go through doing a project like this. So that's kind of what I'm here to suggest. Luciano?
So one of the good things about that meeting was that this contractor has done it in this kind of area. And what I mean by that is there's going to be areas that have a lot of trees, and there's some areas, if you did it down at Scarsdale, there might not be so much debris. If you do it up here in Mayapack or in Greenwich, it might be a little bit more private, and you're going to have branches. Maybe they were old ash trees, whatever they are. So my first question to them when we were all meeting was, what happens when we pierce the liner, right? Like, I'm not trying to play that. So he was talking about the 30s and the 40s, and Jim and I were talking to him, and then I said, well, maybe we could do a little bit better. And then he came back to Jim and said, how about the 60 millimeter? That's the top of the grade commercial pool. Of course, I'm trying to dance with the supervisor to get a cover because, we could take the 15 years and move it to 25 years, but that's another story. With that being said, think about this. If I take plastic or PVC liner, it's nice and soft. Anybody who jumps in is going to love this. It's nice and smooth. It comes all the way up the coping. If I'm sitting waddling at the coping, it's still wrapping the concrete. So one of the questions I asked was, we're not doing a half job. You're not going to put a pool noodle at the edges of all my and then wrap it with it. What are you going to do? And he was able to not always take us down to the stud, but also give us suggestions so that we can eliminate those mini 4x4, 2x2. They come in these sheets. If anyone's ever done them in their bathroom or whatnot, you're rolling them out. Once they crack, they're sharp as can be. And those are the little tiles that sit along those pools. So if we have a way where they obviously can, so I can sit and waddle and slip into the pool and not cause it. When I used to install them on stairs, I did use like Bondo, like car stuff, like anything to keep it from taking the frame of a stair and you sitting on it, hanging out with your friends and then tearing it. This time it would not only be 60 millimeters, it would also have this proper, if you know roofs, it's like a Duraflex. It's almost like a foam like sealant that wraps all the way around the edge, and then on top of that, the pool would actually be lined all the way over the coping. So water couldn't get into it. It would be completely sealed. Then we got to just worry about the rest of it, but we won't talk about that today. Okay.
Do you have anything left?
I look at the book.
No, so after all that, you recommend getting an aquatic engineer?
No, we absolutely need one.
At the end of the day, we absolutely need one in this project. We try to do it in-house and put it out, and the more I'm absorbing, let's just do it right. And
Ed, the aquatic engineer, can also get a compressor, fancy one, not the one that Luciano uses, and blow all the beautiful return lines because they're all sound as of right now. In the event there was a crack or an air bubble in one of the return lines while we're doing the construction, that do it while it's open kind of thing, we'd be able to open and fix that line because we're also working on other parts of the pool.
For the money that we're going to be spending on these pools.
That's it.
I want to do it once. I want to do it right. We've been spending between $20,000 and $40,000 a year to keep the coping basically on the sides and replace these little tiles that you used to see in Grandma's bathroom.
Yeah, right.
Those little square tiles,
right.
okay? Yeah. This would cure that problem. Phase 2, which hope I'm still here to see, is we're going to probably embut the concrete up against the splash grate. So that will end that, and then do a stamped concrete and so forth. But that's moving down the road.
And then maybe a
Janelle is over there gritting her teeth at me. I want you to see that.
Actually,
okay?
I think she's just laughing hysterically that you think.
If I show you a loop lock pool cover, you'll see there's an elephant on it.
I'm actually
safe.
I'm actually amazed at your knowledge on pools, and I really appreciate.
It's extensive.
I really appreciate the whole explanation because it really cleared things up. Yeah. And it had like the Bronx flair to it too, like the Bronx explanation. So, but I got to tell you, you made it very clear. I think we need aquatic engineer.
Yeah, we gotta. You gotta get us some names.
Yes,
for the aquatic engineers.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's go from there.
I'm gonna start getting quotes for y'all, and hopefully we can head in the right direction because we have to move quick because we don't have a lot of time. We have to put this back out to bid and then award it hopefully before the end of winter so we can get someone in there for
Right, our first bids,
early spring.
we withdrew our first bids.
We only had one come in.
One came in.
and it's not going to be
Okay.
suitable. So,
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's
I
get
agree.
them together, Jim. Let's get together and get them done.
I appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're making things better, folks. We're trying to get a lot of stuff that's been a lot of wasted. It's not wasted money. I can't say that it's wasted money, but it's money.
Temporary
that
money. We want
temporary.
forever money.
I'm tired of the band-aids. We got to fix it once, fix it right.
We're
That's
not going
it.
to make up what we lose, but we have to make sure we make money with what we have.
Right.
If not, we're not doing it right.
No, and you know, our pools are too valuable an asset to let go. So that being said, last but certainly not least, we have Joe from Idle Transports. You want to come up and tell us a little bit about you, Joe? I met Joe at a Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Was that a run that day?
Yeah, I think it was a walk.
A walk, yeah.
Yeah.
Raining like heck, but we were out there, and he had come up to me and said, "Geez, I'd like to give a presentation to the town." I said, "Love to have you." So here he is today.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to let me speak today. So we started an initiative out here in Yorktown to try and aid in keeping the roads safe, doing our part to make a difference. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Idle. It's the beginning of the end of drunk driving. So every 90 seconds, somebody in the United States is affected by a drunk driver. And, just in 2022 or 2021, over 13,000 people lost their lives in these preventable crashes. Drunk driving accounts for 31% of all traffic-related fatalities. Number one among any traffic-related fatality, coming in above speeding. You can go to the next thing. So each year, about 1.5 million people across the country are issued a DUI, right? And just last year, over 3.7 million people were stopped from driving under the influence of alcohol because they had these Intoxilock systems implemented in their cars. So
they already had the system in.
Yeah, so they had a system and they tried to do it again, repeat offenders.
Madonna.
So what we're trying to do with this designated driving, so it's not unique, right? So we take a peek at this schematic up there. Back in 2004, we were losing around 42,000 people a year in traffic-related deaths. Uber and Lyft came, reducing the numbers around 20%. And you see right there in the middle, that's a company called Driver. That's the leading designated driving service in the country. And if you take a peek at that orange, that represents the amount of alcohol-related traffic deaths. And even since the foundation of this designated driving company that is said to represent the entire country, it really hasn't had much of an effect on bridging the gap of individuals that are losing their lives in these preventable accidents. So, we decided to initiate our own plan, and we can go to the next slide. Every day, there's dangers that are associated with driving. But there are certain days where it's more dangerous to be on the roads, right? We know New Year's Day, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend, you're at a higher risk at encountering somebody that's driving under the influence. In fact, 2 out of 3 people in their lifetime are affected by somebody that is driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So the question is, are more people driving on these days under the influence, or is the police presence just more accountable on these days because they know that people are going out and they're drinking? So we have a quick schematic right here. It's the articles within the last year of Westchester County individuals that have been affected in drunk driving accidents. Westchester actually ranks in the bottom 10 in terms of amount of DUIs per capita. So we do a pretty good job of preventing these issues here in Westchester. But unfortunately, we are in the top 10 of DUIs that result in fatalities. So while per capita, we're doing a pretty good job, we are losing some of the most lives in New York State. So our business plan is to make our roads safer one ride at a time. Our mission's pretty simple. We can go a couple. I think we're a couple slides. Our mission's pretty simple. We're looking to offer a safe and reliable transportation alternative to individuals under the influence of alcohol or drugs. We are committed to promoting responsible decision-making and providing a valuable service that helps prevent accidents and promotes community well-being. We are dedicated to establishing our services in townships, in local universities, and having more access to a responsible and convenient transportation option. Now, our company was founded in 2022. I'm a Yorktown graduate. I graduated back in 2017. I was a two-time varsity captain for the baseball team, and I went to continue my athletic career down at Shenandoah University. I found myself most weekends being the team's designated driver. As for me, making sure my friends could get to and from the bar safely, brought me more satisfaction than any amount of alcohol ever could. COVID ended up hitting. I decided to finish my degree at home. And sure enough, that next semester, 6 of my teammates ended up getting a DUI. Oh boy. Right, so now that everybody graduated, we're all working full time, these 6 kids were having difficulty looking into a career that they really wanted to pursue because of one tarnish on their record. But it wasn't until 2022 in July when I went down to visit some of my friends in Miami, and we went out to a bar, and we decided to take preemptive steps and call an Uber and meet these group of guys, and we're drinking with them all night long. And the night's over, we call our ride, and we see these guys that we were drinking with head into their car. So as we're waiting for the Uber, I head over and I ask them what they're doing, and they tell me, we're going home. We can't leave our car in South Miami. It's going to get towed, ticketed, or vandalized. We'll take the risk. But little did they know they were taking the risk for everybody on the road that night. So the Uber comes, I hop into the passenger seat, and we're driving on the Sunrise Highway. And I remember pretending to drive and saying to myself, I could do this right now. This, no problem. Only to be woken up 25 minutes later by my Uber driver saying, hey, buddy, you're home. And it was at that moment it struck me how these accidents happen. So I immediately came home, and at the time I was working in Newark, and I'm driving on the turnpike, and I'm sitting there looking at the city, and I say to myself, there has to be a way where we can provide a transportation option that not only gets people home safely, but their vehicle if they find themselves in that same situation. So our vision is simple. We look to create a culture where every municipality and college university offers a designated driving service. And by providing this, we aim to aid with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and eradicating drunk driving accidents and tragedies and ensuring that there are no more victims. Now, this is one of our operational products that we use in our daily affairs. It will be referred to as the idle magnetic lockbox going forward. It's basically just a rotary lockbox and opens up. We throw our client's keys inside, and it has a heavy-duty magnet that we stick to the undercarriage of somebody's vehicle. So how our operation works, how we separate ourselves is simple. Somebody needs a ride. They book the ride. We connect them with the driver. If it's your first ride with us and our company, we fill out this waiver information form. Okay, it has the make and model of the vehicle, license plate, VIN number, your name, the gas type of your car, and we require a signature. Once we get all this information, we then take the keys, we lock it into this lockbox, we have you insert your own combination, and we stick it to the undercarriage of the car. Now, we leave the car on site, and we immediately take you and all your friends to wherever you need to be. And at the end of the night, when the call volume dies down, that's when we go back out and retrieve the vehicle to drive it home. Now, how that process works is simple. We come out, one driver gets out of the car, retrieves the lockbox, takes a 360-degree video of the car, marking down dents and scratches. We get inside of the vehicle, set up a dash camera, drive the car to wherever it needs to be, and then upon driving the vehicle safely home, we take another video to make sure that no damage was incurred throughout the whole process. Mm-hmm. We realized that we're a small initiative. For me to send out 2 drivers right away to get you and your car home, I'm limiting the impact I can have on a community. So by leaving the vehicles and coming back when everyone's sleeping, I can maximize the impact that we're able to have. And that's what separates us from other designated driving services. Moving forward, we are fortunate enough to have a great connection with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And this enables us a lot of insight into the new developments that are pertaining legislative action that's being taken to prevent drunk driving accidents in the future. So right now, the biggest law that has just been passed is something called the HALT Act. It was a infrastructure bill that called the US DOT to implement drunk driving technology in all new vehicles. So it was passed in 2021, November 2021. They had 3 years to implement their plan. So they have until next November. Once they finalize their plan and their safety standard, car manufacturers are going to have 2 to 3 years to have this technology successfully implemented. So you're going to see cars rolling off assembly lines in 2026, 2027 with this high functioning technology that's going to prevent somebody that wouldn't originally call us because, oh, I'm okay to drive. So the question is, well, why hasn't it worked? Because what we're doing isn't unique, right? But the reason it hasn't worked is because companies have made it about money and not ending drunk driving. And if the initiative has the right intentions, trust me, it will come. But for whatever reason, they haven't made it about stopping the root cause of why we're doing what we're doing. And it takes a village. It can't just be one company servicing the whole nation. It's going to take each municipality, each college to say, hey, we're going to set up a service and we're going to ensure that our residents, our students are safe. So what's next? We decided that we are going to transition to a nonprofit. By doing this, we're going to be eligible for government grants. Right now, it's crazy for me to sit here and talk to you guys and say, hey, listen, I have this great idea. I would love funding to show that it works, because we don't know how it's going to scale, how it's going to be received by the public, and how many people are going to utilize it until this technology is implemented. But by attaining a grant, we are able to now set up a full-time service in a municipality or at a university and let our operation speak for itself. So, why are we here? Why are we talking to Yorktown? As a local Yorktown kid, I'm looking for the support in growing this initiative here in Yorktown. I'm looking for assistance in identifying and applying for grants, support in connecting with regional or state level officials, and advocacy for our initiative within the community. For me to go and apply for a grant, they might say it's a great idea, but overlook me. But for me to go and apply for a grant and have the backing of my local community, it's going to stand out. And we might actually just be able to obtain that grant to operate our operation. So that being said, I appreciate the time, and any questions you have, I'd love to answer.
So Joe, I'm ready to get a membership for my foster kid who's 23 in Maryland. But here's the thing. She's very good at taking an Uber. But I read every day about rapes that happen when their girls are drunk and all these other things. I want to applaud you for this.
Yeah.
I too want to invite people to talk about this so that it's not a stigma if you're not cool enough to drive home. It's almost cooler that you didn't drive home. And I think if we start that on that Zima level, when we're drinking at home and we don't know what we're drinking, I think it'll grow. Where we'll have smart boys like you and safe boys and girls out there. And you'll be better than half of us botzes over here that we're adults, right? The other thing I want to ask is there a way, along with what you've asked for, that we can bring this to other groups, such as Ask, or just other places, there's social scenes that we do as PTAs and communities, so that there is something like this on the rise? Because not only are you're not allowing anyone to have a choice. They don't have to leave their car. Their parents don't have to be upset. There's a whole thing there, right? I don't want to have my car left there. My mom's going to get mad at me. There's a whole thing. There really is. You don't let your friends drive drunk, right? There really is that. But it's not even that. It's kind of like when you get a license, you get an idle membership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the fact that I have to blow into a machine in 5 years instead of just saying, I'm going to call Joe. I'm on the membership. It makes more sense to me personally. So I just wonder, and I'm excited to explore and get curious as you take the leap into how to formulate these grants and how to reach out, how to also make this part of where our police department, our EMS, our fire department is talking about it, and they're partnering with you, because it's always cool to be a natural superhero. Yeah. You're also a natural superhero. You know, as long as you could tuck them into bed and then apologize to their parents. I don't know if we can get that far, but that's all right. I'll deal with that part. I tell her to drink a lot of water. But what I'm saying to you is, I think this is something wonderful. And someone like myself who does do a lot of mental health work, talking about it, slowing down, not shaming it, understanding like who's got the tolerance, who's got the bandwidth to make smart decision. It's like, you know, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
And I think there's more to just making the choice to join IDLE. It's also saying you're not making a choice to join IDLE, you're partnering with them.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're saving other people.
Great idea.
Yeah, Joe, I'll tell you what, I also applaud you. You know, I'm going to share a little story. In 1999, October 16th, I was a police officer on the Hutchinson River Parkway. On that particular night, I had come up from the Bronx on a gun run. We were helping New York City. My partner had pulled over a car by the New Rochelle maintenance yard. It was the widest, most lit part of the Hutchinson River Parkway. I backed him up. I was about a mile away. I get out of my car. I went to the passenger side window of his car. I said, "Ray, what are you doing? It's too early to write tickets." That was the last thing I remembered. My police car, totally lit, totally marked. His was a slick top with markings on the sides and so forth. My car was hit from behind. My car pushed into his car. His car threw me under the guardrail with my legs sticking out and my face in the grass. My car's parking gear broke and then rode over me. We were hit by somebody that should have known better. Okay, I'm not going to go into any further detail on it. But when we were hit, it hit so hard that the Jeep Cherokee that hit us rode up over the top of my roof of my car, took the roof lights off, put the trunk lid into the seat where I would have been sitting, would have cut me in half. When I woke up and crawled up on the door like Kilroy was here, and anybody that's a little older understands what that means. But, you know, I had blood coming down me. I was messed up a little bit. I said, "Ray, what happened?" He goes, "I thought you were dead." Well, the only thing I woke up and I was hearing the air horn from the electronic siren. I said, "I didn't go to heaven." So, it was. I look up over the top of his police car, and there's the car that hit us on its roof, going around in a circle like this here. Ray couldn't get out of his car, so I went to the guy who hit us. I got him out of the car and placed him under arrest. Thick Italian head, I think. But I was hit, like I say, by somebody that should have known better, and it wasn't a mistake. He was drunk as drunk could be, and he hit two police cars and hit my car, which pushed me into my partner's car, which pushed my partner's car into the car we initially stopped. And we kid about it sometimes, said, "That'll teach them to speed on our parkways, won't it?" But all kidding aside, I can talk about it. A lot of people can't. This is the most laudable cause I've seen in a long time.
It's a great program.
I want you to come into my office. I think we need to get our grant writer. We need to get our grant writer involved in this. What do you guys think?
Definitely agree.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Great job.
Yeah, good. That was quite the night, folks. Sorry I got a little emotional.
That's beautiful, actually. You got the supervisor emotional. You're making an impact in the world. It's one of the things that we strive to do every single day, and you're doing it with us.
Yeah, it was quite a night. October 16th, 6:59 p.m.
You'll never forget those moments.
Nope. All right.
And then just popped across my screen. Drunken driver going 156 miles per hour admits Snapchatting before fiery wreck, killing a University of Albany student.
At 156 miles an hour, he's Snapchatting?
Yeah.
I can't do that walking.
Well,
But all kidding aside, Joe,
Joe,
I
great
believe in
job.
you.
yeah, wonderful.
Make an appointment. Come up and see me. Give me all the information I can have, and I think it's something that we can get behind 110% in this community. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give you my cell phone number. Not unfortunately, I don't want to not give it to you, but our phone lines are down. We have no incoming calls, so that's either a blessing or a curse. I don't know which it is from time
But
to
it's
time.
not intentional.
But it's not intentional. We don't know why.
I know.
And we had the guy in here today to fix it, so it might even be fixed as I speak, but I'm not sure. So we'll get that fixed. But I'm going to give you my card if you can hang out for a little bit. We won't be long now. It's a pretty quick bunch of resolutions and stuff like that, and then we'll move forward. All right. And I think we got, all right, from the comptroller. We're going to authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfers from general funds. From general fund balance, $61,000 to electricity for Granite Knolls. That we're working on now. That was not a one-time usage. That was a misread, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, she left already. If I'm not mistaken, that was a misread.
Yeah, it was just never read.
It was never read. And all of a sudden, we get hit with $161,000. Imagine if that was somebody's own electrical bill.
At least we saved the money. We noticed
Yeah.
something was a little weird.
We kept that in that electrical account. We didn't let Jimmy touch that money.
Yeah, so
All right. Authorize comptroller to pay the invoice to Civic Plus for web hosting, maintenance, and support for services for the town website. And on personnel, we're going to authorize supervisor to execute an amendment to the employment agreement with Police Chief Robert Noble. Then we're going to authorize we're going to authorize a pay scale adjustment. Be it resolved that Brianna Margie, permanent office assistant, auto systems in the building department, pay scale adjusted to the correct step, effective January 1, 2024, paid at the rate set forth in Yorktown CSEA salary schedule A1, Group 8, Step 3, which is $64,178,000 annually. From the supervisor, to execute a memorandum with Westchester County to access county clerk records. And then we're going to authorize agreement and funding for telecommunications with security and surveillance. Be it resolved, town supervisor is also authorized to sign an agreement with Landline Communications to conduct an audit of all town buildings to assess telecommunications and security surveillance services. Once again, we're going to get new phones. Then we're going to authorize agreement and funding for web hosting and maintenance and support services. Then the town assessor authorized the comptroller to process the following budget transfers from legal, foreclose, sale to legal non retained tax certs. So it'll be from legal foreclosed sales expenditure of $5,821 to non-legal. Legal non-retained tax certs at $5,821.60. We're going to accept a grant, and it's from the town board for the from DASNY for the Sensory Garden at Granite Knoll Sports Facility. We're going to authorize the final installment to be paid for the 2019 purchase order for the police department roof repair and air conditioning replacement. going to approve managerial employee vacation buyout. That'd be for Jenna Belcastro, 35 hours. The Water Department authorized the comptroller to process the following budget transfer from Water Department salaries to Water Department purchase of $60,000. And we have, these will not be in your packet. We got these during our closed session. I think I had 3 here, right? Yes. Okay. Be it resolved that Christy Embler is hereby granted a 6-month maternity leave of absence, which began on November 15th, 2023. This leave may be rescinded at any time if Chief Noble deems it necessary for the operation of his department. While on leave, as per CSEA contract, she will be able to use any leave time available to her. Once all time is exhausted, the employee will incur all employee costs associated with keeping any medical benefits. And then, be it resolved that Mike Campion is hereby appointed promotional permanent as police sergeant. Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike.
Job class code 0133-01 from eligible list 74-902, effective November 29th, to be paid from the Yorktown PBA salary schedule, which is $136,657 annually. Be it resolved.
Great choice.
Huh?
Great choice.
Absolutely great choice. Be it resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on March 29th, 2023. And also be it resolved that the application for benefits under General Municipal Law 207C filed by RD is denied. All right. And then I believe that's it.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just on,
Oh.
I agree with everything except the DASNY grant. I haven't seen the plans yet for the sensory stuff.
Okay, it's just a grant that's come through at this point, so they will all be forthcoming, most likely paid out of that. They're going to have there's going to be a design engineer, a design architect that's going to be involved in that. That's already been
I know that you had mentioned
talked
that
to.
before.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it coming, like if we had any plans or anything.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yep. They'll be forthcoming as soon as the person can actually get up there, see what she has to see. This is what she does. She does just that.
That's the lady you met, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And all we did was accept the money.
Yeah. We just accept the money to get it
I
done.
just didn't know if we're accepting it, maybe this is an Adam question. Adam, if we're accepting it for the sensory garden and something happens that stalls or we don't go forward with the sensory garden, does that mean that the money just goes back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could apply to have it reallocated to some of the project, but yeah, when you apply, in this case, we apply for a specific project. So if you
No, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like we needed the approved project before we could accept the money.
Yeah. No, not to my
So
knowledge
it's
on this one.
It's just the application we put in for the intent to do the sensory
To
garden.
do the sensory garden.
Okay.
Correct. All right.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it. I forgot.
Okay. So we'll.
Sorry.
Voting on all of them then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pose on that one.
You're gonna oppose on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't really understand the language. I have to do a deeper dive. In a pool with a liner.
In a pool with a liner. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're opposed to the one that you just said, so we'll have to pull that one out. Where was
What
it?
about everybody else?
Where did my DASNY grant go?
First one on the town board.
There we go. First one on town board, accept DASNY grant for the Sensory Garden at Granite Knoll Sports Facility. I'll read the whole thing. Be resolved that the town board accepts the DASNY grant for the Sensory Garden at the Granite Knoll Sports Facility. Be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer $50,000 from the general fund balance to capital projects, HA Granite Knoll Sports Facility, for the expenditure of the Sensory Garden to be reimbursed by this grant. So, okay, all in favor of that one? Aye. Opposed?
Sergio?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right, and then for the rest, can I have motion?
So moved.
So moved. Can I have a second on the rest of them?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right,
There's
folks.
another one.
Yes, our favorite one, our very favorite one. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Yorktown.
Good night,
Aye.
Yorktown.
Love the Yorktown.
See you Saturday.